Now, as we get started here, I want to talk about some data usage challenges. And I'm kind of repeating a little bit and then adding some to it. And the reason I'm doing this is because this is fundamental to really getting a grasp of data warehouses and some of the problems, first of all, you're trying to solve, and then you're trying to avoid down the road when you're actually putting your data warehouse into production usage. Databases, we've already talked about, I'm just going to review here, are generally divided into two types, right? You have your OLTP, which is an online transaction processing database. This one is designed for very fast, efficient data inserts and updates. It minimizes record locking, and it makes it very efficient for multiple people to be in there concurrently. OLAP, or an online analytical processing database, is what we know as data warehousing, and this is designed for fast, efficient reporting. Another way to say that, fast, efficient querying from the database or extracting data from the database. Now, understand, here's the deal. Databases, 99.9999% of the time, start out as OLTP databases, transactional databases collecting daily activity for a business or a hobby or whatever. Then we start to realize later, wow, we've been in business 3 years and there's an awful lot of data in our database, and pulling our quarterly reports and our yearly reports is starting to take a lot longer. Problem is we're having to search and sort and maintain a whole lot of data. And so OLAP, or data warehousing functionality, becomes a need as more and more data accumulates. Before long you have maybe 500 gigabytes of data, but if you'll think about it, most of that data is historical. On the day-to-day activities of the business and the short-term business decisions we make, we really only need to see about 6 months of data or a year of data. So what we want to do is at some point create two databases. The OLTP continues to capture and manage the daily transactions. The OLAP, or the data warehouse, periodically gets loaded with data from the OLTP. We're transferring the data from the OLTP into the OLAP, and then we have our historical reporting. Now, first of all, notice, get a visual of this. The OLTP captures and manages daily transactions. Notice the style. A lot of tables related to each other, right? And this is a fully normalized database. Now, this is great for inputting things because one employee can be inputting into this record, one can be making an update to this record, one can be inputting here and another inputting here, and there will not be any locks that keep each other from working because each individual table can have a row, most likely, that's not going to inflict locks on each other. All right, it doesn't stop all of them, but it'll stop most of them. But querying out of this database is going to be a challenge. Almost every query is going to require 5, 6, 7 table join, and in reality, in the real world, I've written queries 40, 50 table joins, and you'll see them 70 and 80 table joins out there. And that's when you start to try to tell those folks, hey, have you guys thought about a warehouse? And it usually intimidates them. But what we're going to do then is, once we start to accumulate a lot of transactional data in our OLTP, we will go out and create an OLAP database, a data warehouse. Note the different structure here. We'll talk about that later. And we will move data periodically into this format because this is historical archive data. Now, you can still maintain copies in this form, as backups or however you want to do that. There's lots of ways to go about this. But the bottom line is you want to do your reporting, your forecasting, and all that stuff out of this form right here. So that's the challenges we have. This is a challenge you'll have with every database. You need them to perform both functions, and at some point the OLTP simply gets too big and too slow to do both, and you have to then create a separate data warehouse style database.